Lost love in the shadow of memories. Some stories begin but never truly end, like clouds just before a golden afternoon, ready to pour, yet held back by trembling winds. This story is one of those. A tale of love, of waiting, and of 1,000 unspoken emotions, where love existed, yet fate turned its back, where every day one soul waited for another, but the distance only grew with time. This is the story of Arpan and Meghla, two names, two hearts, whose love still lingers in the shadowy corridors of the past. Lost, yet never gone. Have you ever loved someone, only to let them go because time had other plans? Then this story is for you. Come, let's go back a few years, to a city where they first met, and where a pure, yet eternal love began. Number 1. The first glimpse. On a fog-shrouded dawn in Kolkata, Anjan adjusted his camera strap and stepped off the early morning train at Sealdah Station. He was a rising photographer whose work captured the hidden poetry of urban life, rusting cycle rickshaws, neon shop signs reflected in puddles, and the fleeting expressions of strangers. Today, he was bound for Santiniketan, invited to showcase his latest series at a small gallery nestled among groves of sal trees. Clutching his battered leather bag, he wound his way through crowds of commuters, the city's pulse thudding beneath his feet. His thoughts were a jumble of frames and exposures, but when his gaze drifted upward through the station's iron beams, he caught sight of her, a young woman standing alone, backlit by the pale glow of a rising sun. She wore a white and red tant sari that fluttered like a flame in the morning breeze, and in her hands she cradled a well-worn sketchbook. Their eyes met for a hot beat, and Anjan felt the world slow. The bustle of hurried feet, the shrill blare of a train whistle all faded into a distant hum. He lowered his camera, but she was gone, swallowed by the crowd, leaving only the echo of her silhouette in his mind. His pulse quickened. It was foolish to think a single glance could unmoor his thoughts, yet the memory of that brief encounter followed him onto the train. Number 2. Neela's canvas. The following day, Anjan wandered through Santiniketan's annual handicraft fair, lanterns swaying overhead, lacquerware and pottery arranged in riotous colour. He paused before a modest stall displaying charcoal sketches of rural life, donkeys by a mud road, a farmer ploughing a soggy field, children playing under a banyan tree. Each stroke was tender, infused with a quiet longing. Behind the table stood the girl from the station. She looked up, her dark eyes framed by long lashes, and offered him a gentle smile. "Do you draw these?" he asked, gesturing to the sketches. She nodded, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "I try. My name is Nilanjana, Anjan," he replied, extending a hand. Their palms touched briefly, an electric spark that made both of them start. They fell into easy conversation. She spoke of her childhood in Birphum, where she'd first learned to sketch the countryside. He told her about his photography, chasing light through Kolkata's alleys. Over hot cups of ginger tea, they discovered shared passions, tracing memory in art, searching for beauty in unnoticed corners. "Why Santiniketan?" she asked, flipping through her sketchbook. "Because here, even silence speaks," he said. "To go taught us to see the soul in nature." She closed her eyes, as if tasting the words. "I came to find new stories, to fill this sketchbook with faces and feelings." They walked beside the Kapai River at dusk, lanterns reflecting on the water like fireflies. Anjan raised his camera, but she held up a hand. "Would you mind if I sketch you instead?" His heart fluttered. "I'd be on Earth for half an hour." They sat on the riverbank, she drawing him, he photographing her, each lost in the other's process. When she finished, she held up the page, a portrait of Anjan's thoughtful face, gentle light playing across his forehead. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Her smile softened. "It's what I see." Number 3. Threads of memory. Over the next week, Anjan and Nilanjana became inseparable. He photographed her at sunrise, capturing the way the first rays turned her hair to copper. She sketched him at sunset, rendering every freckle and furrow. They explored the university's winding paths, found secret groves where wildflowers grew, and shared stories beneath the shade of the amra tree. One evening, as fireflies blink like distant stars, she confided, "I've loved and lost before. My mother passed when I was a child, and my father drifted away afterward. I'm afraid to give my heart again. He reached for her hand. I understand fear. I've felt it too alone in crowded streets, searching for meaning. But when I look at you, Nilanjana, everything feels possible. Tears glimmered in her eyes. You don't even know me. I want to, he said. Teach me your stories. Show me your world. They sealed the promise with a quiet embrace, bathed in moonlight. In that moment, words were unnecessary. Every heartbeat spoke of hope. Number 4, the letter. All too soon, Anjan's exhibition in Kolkata approached. He invited Nilanjana to accompany him, but she shook her head, voice trembling. I can't, she said softly. Not yet. On his last night in Santiniketan, he dropped her at the station. The platform was empty, save for them and the distant whistle of the departing train. All right, she promised, pressing a folded note into his palm. Read it when you reach home. Anjan boarded, heart heavy. At dawn, he unfolded her letter. My dearest Anjan, love takes many forms. Some bring joy, others demand sacrifice. I feel the depth of what we share, and it frightens me. I carry burdens you cannot ease, memories of absence, shadows that linger when day breaks. I cannot ask you to bear them with me. Stay with your camera and your dreams. Capture the light that I cannot hold. Know that I will always sketch you in my heart, even if we walk separate paths. With all my affection, Nilanjana. His hand shook. He called her number, no answer. For days he waited by his phone. In his studio, in every corner of Kolkata, they had once dreamed to visit together. Finally, grief and longing poured into his lens. Portraits of empty chairs, abandoned sketchbooks, the city's lonely facades. Number 5, years of longing, months bled in 2 years. Anjan's name rose in the world of photography. Solo exhibitions in Mumbai, London, and New York. Critics praised his work as hauntingly intimate. But the faces behind his images remained unknown. Behind the acclaim, he felt hollow, each soul print a reminder of the one person who could not stand beside him. Nilanjana, too, made a name in the art world. Her charcoal drawings were lauded for their raw emotion. Exhibitions in Delhi and Chennai featured her portraits of anonymous figures, eyes downcast or gazing into the distance. When asked about her muse, she would only say, he lives in every shadow I draw. They live parallel lives, separated by time and fear, bound together by memory. Each new city offered fresh inspiration, yet neither could forget the other's laughter, the brush of a hand, the promise in a lingering glance. On his 30th birthday, Anjan received an invitation, a retrospective of his work at the very gallery where they first met in Santiniketan. The opening night approached. He considered cancelling, terrified to return to the place where he'd lost her. But something tugged at his heart, a hope that maybe, just maybe, she would still be there. Number 6, reunion beneath the bubble tree. That spring morning, Kolkata's sky was pale with the promise of rain. Anjan boarded the train to Santiniketan, heart pounding. He carried only his camera and a single fresh photograph in his pocket, a self-portrait, taken without a smile. At the station, he clutched a sign, Welcome, Anjan. But it was empty. He stepped onto the platform, scanning for her face among the arrival crowds. A gentle breeze carried the scent of mango blossoms, and he followed it toward the Kapai River. Under the same ancient bubble tree where they once sketched and photographed, he saw a figure seated on a low stone bench. Her hair was threaded with silver, and her sari had faded to a soft cream. Stillness surrounded her, as if she were part of the landscape. His breath caught. It was Nilanjana. She looked up, eyes wide with wonder. Anjan, he set down his bag and approached, every step a prayer. Nilanjana, they stood in silence for a long moment, and then she rose. He held out the photograph, his self-portrait. Tears welled in her eyes as she recognized the quiet sorrow in his gaze. I've missed you, he said, voice thick. She nodded, tears tracing gentle lines down her cheeks. I never stopped sketching your face. They sat side by side as dawn's first light dappled the river bank. No words could bridge the years, but their hands intertwined spoke volumes. He lifted his camera and clicked once, capturing them both, bathed in hope. Epilogue, Love's Unfading Shadow. Back in Kolkata, Anjan's retrospective opened to acclaim. Critics marveled at the unfinished love etched into every frame. But for him, the greatest masterpiece was the photograph he carried in his wallet, the one of him and Nilanjana, reunited under the bulbul tree. Nilanjana returned to Santiniketan, but this time Anjan joined her. Together they taught art and photography to eager students, weaving their stories into each lesson. Each canvas they painted and each photo they snapped carried the quiet truth. Love's shadow may stretch long, but it never truly fades. In the whispers of the wind through sal trees, in the rustle of sketchbook pages, in the click of a shutter, there lived their shared heartbeat. Two souls, once lost to fear and memory, found each other again, proving that some loves endure beyond distance, beyond time, and beyond the shadows of the past. For more stories like this, more emotions, more heart-touching moments, stay with us by hitting subscribe. Because love stories never truly end, they just change form, just like the quiet corners of your heart.